In an age where visibility is currency, choosing not to post personal photos on social media seems almost radical. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat thrive on self-presentation, curated snapshots of vacations, achievements, and everyday moments. Yet, a growing number of people are intentionally opting out of this culture of self-display. Far from being antisocial or secretive, many of these individuals exhibit a distinct psychological profile rooted in self-awareness, autonomy, and selective engagement with technology. Understanding why they refrain from posting photos reveals a deeper commentary on identity, privacy, and modern connection. 1. The desire for privacy and control. One of the most straightforward psychological explanations is the need for privacy. People who don't post their photos often value boundaries. They see a clear line between their public persona and private life. In a digital landscape where images can be copied, altered, or misused, maintaining control over one's visual identity becomes an act of self-protection. This need for control is linked to what psychologists call personal agency, the belief in one's capacity to make independent choices. For such individuals, deciding not to share personal images is not about hiding, but about asserting ownership over their lives. They often experience a sense of calm, knowing that their image is not being constantly evaluated or archived by algorithms. In a world obsessed with exposure, restraint becomes a form of empowerment. 2. Low need for external validation. Social media platforms are engineered around feedback loops, likes, comments, and shares that activate the brain's reward centers. However, those who refrain from posting personal photos tend to derive self-worth internally rather than externally. They don't seek validation through digital applause. Instead, their confidence stems from intrinsic sources such as competence, relationships, and personal values. Psychologically, this aligns with self-determination theory, which suggests that true well-being comes from autonomy, mastery, and connection rather than external approval. People with a lower dependency on validation often display greater emotional stability. They may view social media's attention economy as superficial, preferring genuine conversations and real-world interactions over fleeting virtual affirmations. 3. Authenticity and rejection of performance culture. Posting photos often involves a degree of performance, choosing flattering angles, editing, and curating moments to project an image of success or happiness. For many, this becomes emotionally exhausting. Individuals who opt out may do so because they perceive such performance as inauthentic or unnecessary. They are more comfortable living their lives without the constant pressure to document and showcase. From a psychological standpoint, this resistance can be understood as a rejection of impression management, the process of controlling how others perceive us. Instead of shaping a digital version of themselves, they prefer to focus on their lived experiences. These individuals often report a higher alignment between their private selves and public selves, suggesting greater psychological congruence. 4. Mindfulness and presence in the real world. Another layer of this psychology is mindfulness, the practice of being present. People who rarely post photos often display a strong awareness of how technology fragments attention. They understand that constantly thinking about how to present an experience online can dilute the experience itself. Instead of viewing the world through a camera lens, they immerse themselves fully in the moment. Psychologists refer to this as experiential engagement, deriving meaning from direct participation rather than representation. Such individuals often report deeper satisfaction in travel, relationships, and personal growth because they are not distracted by how others might perceive their journey. 5. Fear of judgment or social anxiety. Not all reasons for digital withdrawal are idealistic. For some, the reluctance to post photos stems from social evaluation anxiety, a fear of being judged or criticized. This could arise from low self-esteem, body image concerns, or previous negative experiences online. The hyper-comparative nature of social media amplifies insecurities, making many users hyper-aware of perceived imperfections. In such cases, abstaining from photo posting functions as a defense mechanism, a way to preserve self-esteem and avoid psychological distress. Over time, however, this avoidance can also reflect a conscious boundary-setting strategy where individuals protect their mental health by disengaging from toxic comparison loops. 6. Minimalism and digital detox culture. Minimalism has expanded from design philosophy into psychology, the intentional reduction of clutter, both physical and digital. People who refrain from sharing personal photos often embrace digital minimalism, curating what they consume and contribute online to maintain focus and peace of mind. These individuals are not necessarily anti-social media, but selective in how they use it. They might engage through messaging, reading, or professional networking rather than self-promotion. Their approach is deliberate, using technology as a tool, not a stage. This reflects a deeper psychological maturity and an ability to resist societal pressures to constantly perform identity online. 7. The quiet confidence of invisibility. Invisibility in a hyper-visible age carries its own kind of quiet confidence. People who do not post their photos are not necessarily disengaged. Many are observing, reflecting, or contributing in other ways. Their presence is defined not by visibility, but by substance. They may derive fulfillment from learning, creating, or connecting privately rather than broadcasting publicly. Paradoxically, their restraint often makes them appear more mysterious and self-assured. This psychological stance is rooted in secure self-concept, a stable sense of identity that does not depend on external feedback. They are comfortable being unseen because their self-worth exists independent of others' recognition. Shankutiko. Conclusion. Not posting photos on social media is not a symptom of fear or indifference. It can be a conscious expression of psychological freedom. These individuals challenge the unspoken rule that existence must be witnessed to be validated. Their behavior reflects a spectrum of motivations, from protecting privacy and rejecting performance to nurturing authenticity and mental clarity. Ultimately, their silence in the visual sphere speaks volumes about modern identity. In a world that equates visibility with value, choosing invisibility can be a deeply intentional act, a quiet rebellion against the culture of constant exposure and a return to something more real, grounded, and profoundly human. Settings: make the background music no music, make the video duration under 5 minutes.